The Damned has already become my most surprising film of this year, and many of you might not have even heard of it, and so if you're thinking to yourself, what is this film even about? Let me explain. The Damned is a British horror film set in the 19th century directed by Thordur Palsson. The story follows Ava, played by Odessa Young, as she and 7 others live in a remote fishing cabin. One fateful day, they all witness a shipwreck as they argue between themselves whether to attempt and save those on the ship. Ava, who gets the final say, decides against a rescue mission.
Helping those men will put all of your lives at risk, and I cannot do that.
Leaving a few lifeless bodies they refuse to save wash ashore. The cast includes a couple of familiar faces such as Joe Cole, known for his role as John Shelby in the critically acclaimed Peaky Blinders, and Rory McCan, famous for his portrayal of the Hound in Game of Thrones. Helder, a cook in the cabin and a believer of old wives' tales, warns the group that the dead fishermen will return as Draugr, possessed undead beings. However, her warnings are dismissed as mere superstitions.
The dead can't break free if you hammer iron nails into their feet.
But Helder's fears prove true. One of the dead rises as a vengeful spirit, infecting the minds of Ava and the fishermen. Paranoia spreads like snow in a winter storm, turning the group against each other as they fall in a descent into chaos. This fantastic horror masterfully uses shadow and natural lighting to build mystery and tension as you wonder if what Ava and the others see are merely in their imaginations. The flickering flames of lanterns and fireplaces create an eerie atmosphere, hiding the undead in the corners of the decrepit cabin. The cold, desolate setting where the cabin sits, isolated between towering mountains and an endless, unforgiving sea, seeps through the screen, with isolation becoming one of the themes. Though the group is physically together, each individual feels alone. But this is felt most profoundly by Ava. She mourns her late husband Magnus, who died at sea, and clings to his memory. His name never leaves her lips as she finds it difficult to move on. For the others, the cabin is a temporary refuge. For Ava, it's a shrine to her lost love, a constant reminder of what she's unwilling to let go. The film, through the horror genre, poignantly explores the difficulty of moving on after the death of a loved one. While it's natural and completely normal to grieve and hold on to memories, there comes a time when one must let go and continue living. Ava, however, remains frozen in time, much like the icy mountains surrounding her. The other fishermen had a wager that Ava would have left after Magnus's death, but they were all surprised when she decided to stay. She could not find the motivation to leave the cabin, which holds many loving memories, which affects her chance at creating new connections. Her warm embrace with Joe Cole's character Daniel in the midst of the snow and icy wind cannot defrost her frozen heart as she is unable to embrace new love. As the Draugr's possession takes hold of the crew, madness ensues. One by one, the infected turn on each other until only 3 remain, Ava and 2 fishermen, with Daniel's death affecting Ava the most, foreshadowing the movie's true intentions. Helder early in the film advises that the only way to defeat the Draugr is to burn them. In a tense confrontation, Ava traps the demonic spirit in the cabin and sets it ablaze. This act symbolises Ava's battle to let go, not just of the Draugr, but of her grief. Burning the cabin becomes a way of releasing herself from the memories of Magnus, the fishing post, and the isolated island. The demon in this sense represents the weight of the past, the burden of clinging to the dead. Ava's cathartic moment suggests that while it's important to honour the memory of those we've lost, we must allow ourselves to move forward. Or so I thought. In a bitter twist, the thing Ava burns in the cabin isn't the Draugr, but one of the shipwreck survivors. A husband desperate to return to his wife and family, he pleads for Ava's mercy, but her paranoia, fueled by the demon's influence, blinds her to his humanity. Believing he is a Draugr, Ava douses him in gasoline and sets him alight. I mentioned earlier that Daniel's death foreshadows the skeptical ending because his death represented Ava's difficulty to move on. Their close relationship was the potential escape for her, becoming the light at the end of the tunnel. However, that was taken away. And so, the film ends on a dark, cynical note. By killing the man, Ava unwittingly passes her trauma onto another woman, the man's widow, who will now suffer the same grief Ava could never overcome. Rather than breaking the cycle, Ava perpetuates it. As the credits roll in silence, you're left grappling with the film's bleak conclusion. Instead of redemption, the film leaves us with a haunting message. Perhaps we are all destined to be damned. Thank you for watching the first video of the year. If you do like this content, please like and subscribe, it really does help the channel. And please head over to my TikTok, filmispics, for more movie content.